What's going on, everyone? You're welcome once again to David Data channel. If this is your first time or returning viewer, thanks so much for stopping by. Alright, so on today's video, we're going to be continuing our series on data modeling. We've talked about what a data model is all about. We talked about conceptual data model, and we also talked about logical data model. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a physical data model, which is what we interact with most often in our data day-to-day stuff with databases, right? Alright, so if this is your first time, I'd like to hit the like button and notification bell, and so you don't get to miss out on any of our content. And if you're also a returning viewer, thanks so much for stopping by. Please like to hit the like button as well, and also subscribe if you have not subscribed, as that really goes a long way to help us and encourage us to make more content like this. And also, please feel free to share your thoughts and in the comment section as well. Alright, so what's a physical data model? Now, compared to conceptual that was a high level and logical that was a little bit more detailed, for your physical data model, you're actually now building your data model within your database. You begin to consider things like storage, your indexing strategies, the relationships and the columns, the data types for each of the columns and stuff like that. So you become very much detailed around your physical data model, because this is really what we interact with often in our databases. Why do you need a physical data model? It's obvious, right? That's how you interact with data in database. Alright, so a physical data model is highly optimized for a specific database technology, which can also help to improve scalability and performance of your database. So we're going to try to create a simple physical data model for our fictitious e-commerce business. Now we're going to be using BigQuery for this, but understand that BigQuery is built for OLAP transactions. That's OLAP, like online analytical processing. But then for our data models we are referring to right now, we're actually referring to transactions processing, which is like your OLTP, online transaction processing, right? So you look at your MySQL or Postgres database or your SQL Server database, or your on BigQuery, that will be Cloud SQL, or if you're using Azure, that will be Azure SQL databases, right? But for this, you're going to be using the BigQuery to create those data models, and so you can see how this works real time, because at this point you're beginning to create your data, your data tables, specifying the kind of data types for each of the columns and stuff like that in more detail. So let's jump over to BigQuery right now. Alright guys, you're welcome to BigQuery. So I'm just going to create a new schema for us, or a new data set. BigQuery calls it data set. Alright, so let's create a database. I'm just going to call this e-commerce. So in our schema, we're going to create a table. So yeah, it's an empty table. We'll call this table customer. So let's create a customer table. So want to create our columns or schemas this way. So we'll have a customer ID, and let's say it's an integer column, rather. Let's call this first name, and this will be a string. We have last name, this will also be a string. We can do the email, this will also be a string. So this BigQuery, if you're using a SQL Server, you have like a varchar and stuff like that. And let's say we have a phone number. This would be an integer, say billing address, and then this would be a string as well, right? Yeah. Okay. Customer ID is required, and then let's say the rest are not necessarily required. We can put here this is the primary key. So we create our table. Yeah. So we can do the same thing. So let's say we want to create another table. Let's call this one product. So we create the fields. So we have a product ID, called it an integer, required, primary key, call this name of product name, the string, let's say product description, the string, price, let's call it the float. Let's say price is required, right? Yeah, basically this is really how it works. So if you're using a SQL Server, stuff like that, you would write your create statements, your create table statement rather, and then you specify the primary keys and the column types with the varchar and stuff like that. So basically this is really how you create your physical data model on your database. Remember, we're just using BigQuery as a mock-up, right? I said most times in real life you'd have to use like a transactional database. BigQuery is a non-transactional database, which is much more used for processing, which is why it's called the data warehouse and not a database. Okay. Alright, so a simple tool you could use and access online for free to create your physical data models on your system would be dbdiagram.io, which is like a good website I find easy to use, and you can describe relationships as well using the syntax provided in here. So you can see a table called follows. You can specify the columns, the fields, data types for each of the columns, and each of the tables required in your database. And this is a reference of how to create, like how to show relationships between one another. That's the thing. Yeah, and then you can even now export it as SQL based on your database structure, and so you can write your create statement, your create table statement, and the fields to help you get that done. So this is a simplified example of a physical data model for an e-commerce business using BigQuery. So you can go ahead and create your order tables, your orders table, your order items table, and other tables that would be in your data model of your database. Remember, data model, basically the goal of it is to typify or to capture a business process that happens in the real world, right? Okay, so we'll stop there at this video. I hope you got a thing or two out of this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and also the notification bell so you can be notified once a new video drops in. Thanks so much. See you again in the next video.